Time to wake up. It's Saturday morning. Find some milk and cereal. Grab a bowl and spoon. No, a bigger spoon. Head to the living room and take a seat on the floor while Joseph and Chris present to you Saturday Morning Cartoon!
Hello everybody, welcome to Saturday Morning Cartoon Boom! This is a show where we wake up with the Saturday morning sun popped on the floor, big one sugar cereal, and time for cartoons, both old and new. I'm Joseph.
And I'm Chris.
And this morning we watched She-Ra and the Princesses of Power.
It's hard to say princesses. That's a lot of sis noises.
You know what, that was what I was going to say. Not that I disagree with the message, but it is kind of tough to say. It's a mouthful.
It is a mouthful. Like, you got to practice it before you can say it in casual conversation. Like, you can't just say, hey, have you checked out She-Ra and the Princesses of Power on Netflix? You got to be like, hey, like, you got to loosen up that tongue so you can be like, hey, have you seen She-Ra and the Princesses of Power on Netflix? That's the only way to do it.
Just call it She-Ra Pop.
She-Ra.
Well, no, because then it would still be the old one, too, because that was She-Ra, Princess of Power. So never mind, it doesn't work.
See?
It doesn't work.
Don't listen to Joseph.
Never.
Nope.
So this was suggested by me because I had caught a couple episodes of it and really dug the way it was going. So I figured we'd bring it here since it's brand new.
We brought it here. This is being brought.
So the show She-Ra and the Princesses of Power, again, started this year, really like a couple weeks ago. I think May 13th or something like that. And it's obviously still going. It was a binge thing, so they brought about the whole first season. Hopefully they're going to have more in store for us. I know that they have at least written out 4 seasons of it, or
nice.
4 13-episode seasons. So assuming they get renewed, then we're going to see a lot more of it.
That'll be awesome.
This is based on, of course, She-Ra, Princess of Power by Filmation and Mattel. This version was developed by Noelle Stevenson, produced by DreamWorks Animation Television, Mattel Creations, and NE4U Animation. And that's an acronym, the letter N, the letter E, number 4, and then the letter U.
Is that like when you say anything, you know, when you're typing shorthand, it's just NE? So it's like, we'll do anything for you.
But there's no telling what it actually stands for. And there probably is telling. I just don't want to look it up right now. So
I like the vagueness of it.
Not even anything for you, just any for you.
Any for you.
Any what? There's a mystery to it.
Exactly.
I like it.
I do too.
This is, again, 1 season so far, 13 episodes on Netflix. It's a Netflix exclusive, so check it out if you have Netflix, which who doesn't at this point. For a short synopsis written by our friend Kenneth Chisholm, and every single description of the episodes that I'm going to read when we start going through them was written by Kenneth also. This guy, he has to be working for IMDb or something, or else he just has unlimited free time to where he's writing every single thing that we're reviewing before we even get to it.
I love it. I love it. You keep doing you, Kenneth.
He's actually, this thing is like a short story, at least a novella. So I just picked the first part of it because that really gives an accurate description. On the planet Etheria, Odora is an up-and-coming soldier for the Horde, eager to defend her home from the menace of the princesses she has taught all her life to fear. She was taught all her life to fear. Everything changes when a chance encounter with the mystic Sword of Protection in the Whispering Woods calls to her.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, it didn't like call her like on a cell phone. It was more of like like she ran into it and the sword was like, hey, over here. You know, just wanted to clear that up real quick so no one's confused.
Yeah, it didn't like call out to her, but it's like, hey, you're close to me. You seem right. Grab hold.
Touch me.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out a better way to say that, but I couldn't.
Grab me in your dainty hands and hold me aloft.
Yes,
I think that's the way to do it.
Hold me closer, tiny Adora. So, who are some of the actors you played in this show?
So the voice of Adora, aka She-Ra, was provided by Amy Carrero, who was also a lot of this cast has done live television rather than animation. So a lot of the stuff I'm going to talk about is going to be live stuff, but she played the character of Angie in Level Up. She was Sophia in Young and Hungry, and she voiced Princess Elena in Elena of Avalor. I say she did, but she still does. That's a Disney thing, I think. The voice of Catra was provided by AJ Michaela, who played the character of Lainey Lewis in The Goldbergs. The character of Glimmer was voiced by Karen Fukuhara, who actually is also plays Katana in Suicide Squad. And I was like, oh, cool. That's like completely out of left field. So that was really awesome. And she really hasn't done much else, which is interesting. And a lot of the actors from the show, they're relatively new. Like their IMDb pages are pretty slim. So it's kind of cool to see kind of some fresh blood, if you will. Voice of Bo was Marcus Scribner, who plays the character of Andre on Blackish. The voice of Angela, which is Glimmer's mother, was voiced by Reshma Shetty, which is a cool name, along with Venus Terzo. Like, those are some of the coolest names we've seen so far. Reshma also played the character of, and I'm going to mess this one up, Divya Kader from Royal Pains. I've never seen Royal Pains. Have you seen Royal Pains? Anyone?
Nope.
No? Okay. The character Shadow Weaver is voiced by Lorraine Toussaint, who played Renee Jackson in Any Day Now, Kate Perry in Saving Grace, Yvonne V. Parker in Orange is the New Black. That's the only character, or the only one I remember her from, but I remember her being excellent in Orange is the New Black, so good for her. And then finally, character of Hordak, voiced by Keston John, who voices Killmonger in the cartoon Avengers Assemble. It's a very cool cast. Like I said, mostly new faces. So that's awesome that we're getting some new people up here. And before we jump into the episodes, spoiler warning, big spoiler warnings, spoiler. If you haven't watched it yet, this will be a spoiler. You cannot say you have not been warned.
Yeah. Please, like, if you intend to watch it, go watch it first, then listen, because we're really not going to hold back. Not that it's anything like too surprising, but it might be. So just in case it is, check it out first.
Yeah, check it out first.
So for you tasting marshmallows out of our big bowl of She-Ra cereal, the series showrunner and creator is Noelle Stevenson. Like I said, she's a cartoonist who became known for her Eisner Award-winning comics, Nimona and Lumberjanes. So she's one of the writers for Lumberjanes.
Oh, that's cool. Okay. So I've read a little bit of Nimona. I've only read like 1 or 2 issues, and I know Lumberjanes is very beloved, and I definitely want to watch more of that. So, or read more of that. So very, very cool. I like it.
Yeah, I had no idea, but I guess it makes sense because she's so used to writing like these powerful female characters that she would come into She-Ra as well. In addition to that, the series has an all-female writer's room and only one man in the regular voice cast, being Bo. So this is completely written and created by women, which is a rarity in cartoons these days. So really cool to see.
Interesting.
Yeah.
They technically have 2 men, though, because they do have the guy that plays Hordak as a guy. So your sources lied to you, Joseph.
Well, that's why I said regular voice cast, because Hordak is
fine,
kind of an in-between thing.
You know what? Fine.
The creators indicated prior to release that the series would provide LGBT representation. So Tor.com or TOR.com commented that the series reads as utterly queer in just about every aspect, with many characters coded as fluid in terms of gender or sexuality and none as clearly heterosexual. So I guess I can kind of see that. Like, it doesn't really come into play much, but a lot of the female characters just kind of have love for one another, but it doesn't mean it's like either gay or hetero or anything. Although between Catra and Adora...
Yeah, I didn't think anything of any of it except that I felt like maybe that there was definitely some romantic interest between Catra and Adora, but like, I mean, I didn't really question anything else. Like, it just wasn't something to think about. I think it's a weird thing to zero in on from that perspective. And it's like, if they are gender fluid, like, who cares? Like, let them be who they are.
Yeah, exactly. And that kind of brings me to the next marshmallow I have here, which is fan artists responded to She-Ra's redesign and the controversy over it with a wave of artwork celebrating the heroine's new look. The Verge reported that most of these artists were young women who were inspired by the new design's detractors to improve the new character's profile and her reputation. So, and I know you probably caught wind of it also, or saw some of the comments going on where It's like people were commenting on She-Ra not being like, I guess, as sexualized as she was in the original one, because, you know, they have this idea that it needs to be like an over sexualized character like it was back in the 80s in the original cartoon. And not that I'm saying anything against the original cartoon. It was a product of its time and it was fine for what it was. But
Right.
I'm saying now, like, this is trying to be something completely different. And yet people are looking at the other one with such regard that they want this one to be the exact same type of show, when really this one's pushing diversity and inclusivity a lot more.
Yeah, I guess, like, so I haven't really paid attention to the comments. I just knew that there was a lot of controversy where people were angry. I didn't bother really looking into why, just because, I mean, I assumed certain things about how they were feeling and you just kind of confirmed it. And I'm just like, man, that's some petty stuff. But I mean, to me, it's kind of like, I don't know, like, I guess I can understand if people feel like the show is just some sort of like propaganda to them for, you know, I know people like to throw the term like social justice warriors and stuff around. I could see people being annoyed if they felt that that's all this show was doing, but the show isn't that. Like, the show is a great show, and it's just some of the characters are barely even subtly, you know, certain things. So I just think it's really, I don't know. I think it's like people are looking for something to hate on and they don't want to give it a chance just because of that. Like, they want to be mad and they want to not like something. So they're kind of making up reasons that really hold no weight. Like, it's just an argument for argument's sake, and it's pointless.
Yeah, I like a lot of the comments were like along the lines of they don't like her redesigned costume. She looks too much like a boy, things like that. And really, like, that doesn't matter. Like, none of that matters. That's not the point of the story. That's not the point of this young girl kind of rising up to be the protector of this realm. Like, that has nothing to do. I mean, I say young girl, but really it could be young anything. It has nothing to do with gender or anything of the above. It's empowering to women in the sense that it does happen to be a young girl, but that's besides the point. That doesn't come into play really at all.
Yeah, and I think them saying that she looks like a boy, I think that's a load of crap. Like, there isn't a single second that even came into my mind. So it's just people being mad to be mad because they need something to fuel that rage because they're dead inside.
When we review this, obviously, we're not going to be bringing that into play at all. I don't think really anyone should if they're giving it a fair review. Leave the original one as it is. It was good for its time. And this one is different.
Yeah, this is a different show.
Right, altogether. So let's go ahead and jump into the episodes of today's show. Their first episode has rated episode, flying a random or chosen episode, order may vary depending on how the episodes fall chronologically, but of course, let's start with the very first episode, which was The Sword, Part 1, Season 1, Episode 1. So this is another one that's like a Part 1 of 2, but you get the idea of what's going to happen in Part 2 just by how Part 1's going. And in this one, on the planet Etheria, Adora, a young captain of the Horde, discovers a hidden sword that seems strangely meant for her.
That is true, which was also kind of the description for the overall show that we got from our buddy.
From Kenneth, yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Kenneth, for keeping it strong, I guess. I mean, you're still on it.
Yep.
So that's cool. A few things I want to mention real quick, just right off the bat. The animation is gorgeous. Like the environmental design, the character designs, the colors. Oh my God, these colors. I love everything about this. This is amazingly beautiful and pleasant to look at. So just heads up, that part is awesome.
I was just going to say, yeah, this is kind of like a similar to the Cal Arts style that we see in, you know, really a lot of shows these days. Not that it's the same, but it's got a very similar tone to maybe Steven Universe.
Like Steven Universe.
Yeah, exactly.
And it looks great. And also the music is cool too. Even though we do get like a cheesy, I mean, pretty much a straight up pop song for the intro, but that's okay. But the music goes back and forth between like this cool 80s synth kind of vibe and then also, you know, regular like what you would imagine soundtracks, like adventure kind of soundtracks and stuff like that. throwing in that 80s synth vibe is just awesome. I love it.
The 80s synth thrown into that musical score was really cool and helped you kind of reminisce about the classic show if you wanted to bring that in at all.
Oh, yeah.
So it's kind of like giving a nice nod to it without drawing directly from it.
Yeah, and one thing I liked about this too is like how different it was, because I mean the He-Man world is and with He-Man, She-Ra, because they are intertwined. But I mean that overall Master of the Universe world is a mix of fantasy and really weird sci-fi. But
Yeah.
this embraced the sci-fi part of it way more than they ever have before. And made it very futuristic in scope, but also, I mean, to the side of that, there's also a huge amount of fantasy. But you're introduced to so much sci-fi right off the bat that I was just like, oh man, this could easily be in like the same world as like Voltron right now, with the amount that went into the first part, and I loved that about it.
Like it is a nice mixture of both, and as you said, even the classic He-Man and She-Ra cartoons were a mixture of both, but they really leaned more on the fantasy side. In this one, it was kind of a good balance of both.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that.
So this first episode was really, your basic origin story. And my only thing, and this isn't a complaint so much as just like an observation, and I get why they did it, but my only thing is I wish that they had extended this one a bit more to the point where we got to see more of Adora as part of the Horde. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we didn't get to see much.
It was really rushed, as if like we should have just known that she had this entire history with it. And we get kind of droplets here and there as the show goes on of that. But I wish they had at least had a whole episode where she was doing something as a part of the Horde. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I guess to the point of that in the plot in the show is that the idea is that she is in the dark as far as what the Horde, led by Hordak, get it? Horde and Horde. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So she's in the dark
clever.
as to what they're doing. She thinks that there's some sort of like peace force, like, peaceful army kind of thing. She is a cadet in training, and she is, amazing but also gets very special treatment from Shadow Weaver, who is this female-ish creepy thing in charge. And Catra is part of her little trainee group and stuff. Definitely does not get treated the same way, as we'll talk about in the next episode. But it's basically like Adora is quickly becoming, what would be like the star of this Horde, when she ends up finding out what the Horde is actually doing. But yeah, we didn't get to see her actually act on behalf of the Horde, only in training. Like she was basically in the danger room, like in X-Men, for a good few minutes. So we got to see some of her fighting and shooting skills and stuff.
Yeah, and that was about it. And like I said, I get it, and I know that they needed to kind of progress to the point where we got to see what she was going to become. I only wish they stuck around a bit longer in that storyline. And maybe there's an episode in there somewhere where it has more flashbacky stuff and we get to see that, and it's kind of like given to us in bits and pieces instead of all at once. But instead, it seems like right away it's jumping from one thing to another. And that didn't really bother me so much. It just is something I wanted to point out that I wish they had done slightly differently. The idea of it, so she and Catra are basically best buds. Like, they've grown up together. We've seen that. And Catra is kind of the lazy, like, I just want to get out there and do stuff. Whereas Adora is very methodical, and she's like the perfect student and a people pleaser. So she's just trying to make everyone happy. And she's being taught, really, they're all being taught. They're being brainwashed by Hordak and Shadow Weaver and whatnot to be under the impression that princesses just in general are these evil forces who are causing, like, who can't be trusted and are causing disarray in Eternia. And queens are kind of like the queen bees of everything, and they're the mastermind. So the way, and I'm trying to visualize it the way that I would think of it, where it's like, if I didn't already know that princesses and queens or whatever are supposed to be these like forces of good in shows like this, then maybe if I were taught otherwise, and that might be what I actually believe, you know what I mean? Like, maybe the brainwashing goes so deeply that even the terms themselves bring that fear and that distrust.
Yeah, I thought it was really strange that they were going with the princess thing, like they didn't call him something else, because they're treating princess like a thing, like not so much a title. It's not like a title of prestige. They're treating it as like almost like a type of being, which is, a person with magic and it's uncontrollable and they're evil and stuff like that. I just thought that was a really weird way to go with it. I think that was honestly maybe the one thing that I thought was kind of dumb about this whole show, was they didn't sell me on that part.
Yeah, and it's another thing is I guess to compile on top of that a little bit, they're from a place that they openly call the Fright Zone. Yeah. So you would think they would kind of get an idea that maybe they're not maybe they're batting for the wrong team here.
Right.
Like there might be something amiss within their forces.
And you'd think too, like, I mean, just tagging on to that, like if you're calling yourself the Horde and not referring to you playing World of Warcraft, you would maybe think twice about like maybe the morals of the side that you're on.
Yeah. So that aside, the way that I tried to rationalize it with myself is that these are literal kids that are being raised with this knowledge. So not knowing anything else, not having a reference to the other side, maybe it checks out,
Yeah, I could see that. We get introduced to Glimmer, who's interesting. So Glimmer is like jumping from the Horde side to the other side, Horde side, for any Warcraft fans out there, you'll get that reference there. So we see Glimmer, and this is on the like more in the fantasy kind of area of the world. Glimmer is a princess. Her mom is the queen, and they're kind of like, I feel like they're kind of the last vestige of the resistance against the Horde. They're kind of it as far as an organized front. And I don't know exactly what they're queen and princess of. I'm not entirely clear on all that, but Glimmer has like a teleportation power and she glows, which is kind of cool. And here's the thing, like Glimmer is a little bit on the chubby side, which I appreciate that they went with someone like a body type that isn't the typical, what you just assume a princess is. Like, I mean, every Disney princess looks the same. And if you think of other cartoons, women are usually drawn in the same shapes and stuff like that. So I like that they branched out from that with this.
Well, also, she has like darker or different color skin. Like it's not necessarily like she's any specific race. She just has a different color skin. And that's a big difference from the original show. Not to bring that back into the mix, but I just wanted to point out that everyone in the original show, with the exception of maybe one or two characters, were Caucasian characters. They were white, and they all had the same body type, where it's like a super fit, super thin, tall women. So this was a very big difference from the source material. Yeah.
And like I said, I think that's very cool. I'm glad that they went with a different kind of body type, because you should, because not everybody looks the same. So good on them for going that route, and screw all the people that don't like that, because you're living in a fantasy world.
Yeah, and it's even in the title. Like as I said before, the original title, well, the one for the original show was She-Ra, Princess of Power, which was a singular thing. She was the Princess of Power. And this one is She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. So this is a very inclusive show where it's putting focus not just on She-Ra. Like she's a title character, but there are others with her, and her friends are part of this show. And so even the title alone kind of gives you an idea of what direction it's going to go.
Exactly. So we get introduced to her, and then Bo, who seems like kind of a doofus right away, but Bo grew on me pretty quick. Like Bo's a
lovable
character.
Doofus. Yeah.
He is a lovable doofus, and I really enjoyed him. Adora and Catra at one point go out on this like skiff, this like hovercraft thing, because Adora's like going to get promoted, and Catra's jealous and kind of, poking fun at her for being kind of a goody two shoes, kind of a suck up. And Adora's just like, well, wants to prove her wrong by being fun. And they go out on this skiff, into the woods, which are kind of forbidden. They're not supposed to be there. And that's where like Adora first gets called to by the sword. So later on, she tries to go out and find the sword, and she runs into it the same time that Glimmer and Bo are actually out there too, looking for this. Like Bo has some sort of device that like tracked the sword by happenstance. And they both end up there at the same time. They thinking Adora is a Horde spy, and though she does work for the Horde, she isn't exactly a spy, and she is there of her own means against the Horde's wishes. And that's basically like how they meet, which was kind of interesting. And they capture Adora, and as they get her in the sword and they're taking her back to the Queen, that's when they run across this destroyed city, and Adora sees that obviously the Horde did it, and she's kind of like at a loss, like, wait, we were the good guys. And they're like, no, like your army is called the evil Horde. I mean, duh.
That's one thing I really liked about it too, is it's very self-referential in a lot of ways. And I'm going to bring up a couple of characters. I don't think this happened in this episode, but it's not important which episode it happened in. There's a character whose name is Net Tassa. Like that's literally this character's name. She was in the original one too. She's telling Bo, she's like, you still don't know what I do you? And he's like, yeah, no. And she's like, it's literally in my name. I toss nets, Net Tassa. What's good about that is like, of course, these characters were named to sell the toys and very descriptive of what their actions were and whatnot. But it's funny to see that brought into present day, but also pointed out that it's a little bit ridiculous, but they make fun of it without, changing it entirely.
Yeah, they embraced the silliness of the original and just moved forward with it. And I think that's the best thing they could have done.
I would much rather them have done that than change names or try to update it in some way.
Yeah.
Because it is showing a lot of love for the original by keeping those names, keeping even the basic style of things. And of course, She-Ra's catchphrase, her, I have the power, which is for the honor of Grayskull. I can't wait to see, and I'm hoping it comes like some sort of rendition of this that also has Adam and He-Man in it as well.
Yeah, I am really hoping that eventually we will see, like if they're not going to do a He-Man show, to go in tandem with this, which I think they should. I think that would be very cool, and then have them cross over in a big event. Then I do think that they should at some point at least bring in an episode, possibly a two-parter, where some of that corner of this little universe is explored.
And without going into too many specifics on exactly what happens in this episode, like we were saying earlier, like once she and Catra go out to the, on the skiff to the Whispering Woods, which is kind of the center point between Brightmoon, which is the Rebels side of things, and the Fright Zone, which is the Horde side of things.
Horde side.
There's the Whispering Woods, and that's what's kind of protecting, or that is what's stopping the Horde from basically invading.
Yeah.
So they go and explore that. Adora gets tossed off, or they run into a branch or something, and she gets tossed off, and Catra keeps driving off, or she's not able to turn it around yet, or whatever. And that's when the sword calls out to her because she's literally right next to it. It's like, oh, hey, you're here.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that's what starts this chain of events that leads to her coming back to the sword, and also ultimately what starts her meetup with Glimmer and Bo.
Yeah.
Like you said earlier, once she sees what happens with what happened with that town, and she kind of starts questioning the Horde's actions, not even questioning, like she straight up just like doesn't want to be any part of it anymore. And the big difference between this one and the original one in that sense is, in the original one, Adam or He-Man has to come and save her because she is being not brainwashed but mind controlled by Hordak. And so he has to come help her break the spell. And in this one, she comes to the realization on her own accord and is able to break free from the Horde's grasp, because it's not mind control in this sense. It's just brainwashed from her childhood. So this is a big difference where it's giving her the power instead of it having to be a man come and save her from the Horde's grasp. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she's a single woman who don't need no man.
Yeah, basically. Without saying that, yes.
Yeah.
We're going to say that.
But I think that's good. I mean, there's enough stories where, you know, the woman needs the guy to save her. There's enough of that. We don't need more of that. This is perfect.
Without getting too tied up in the first episode here, like a big bug is attacking. Like she gets the sword. She's able to call on the power of She-Ra for the honor of Grayskull. Bug essentially bows down to her, like it submits to her, and she's able to save her friends in that way.
Yeah.
That's what closes out this first episode.
I would bow down to her. I'd be like, hey, sup? Cool sword. I'm gonna bow.
You're my master now.
You control me.
The second episode of today's show was Promise, season 1, episode 11. This is the highest rated. I want to say something about the ratings on IMDb, which is where we pull these from. I feel like some of the people who are anti this show are maybe making like duplicated accounts or grouping up to try and bomb the show. Because when I look at the ratings on there, I'm going to tell you the difference between Rotten Tomatoes, which is it's 100% as far as critics go.
Yeah.
And then IMDb, it's 6.6 out of 10 as an overall rating, but each episode individually is rated in the 4s. Like this was the highest rated episode and it was 4.4. I was really disappointed to see that.
That's weird. Yeah, obviously there are people in there like trying to sabotage this show as much as they can. And if you're one of those people, like shame on you, because what's the point? You've got better things to do with your life.
Yeah, that's just really lame. I felt really discouraged when I saw that because like I was thinking like, are we watching the same show? Because
Right.
There's no way, even if I didn't like certain things about it, there's no way that I would give it that low of a score. Like that's offensively low.
Well, I mean, like we said, I mean, there's people out there that just they hate just to hate, and they will take it to the extremes because they've got nothing better to do, you know. But then again, we are just leftist soy incels, according to some dude on YouTube that doesn't like our take on things. So.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that was over something we said in Gargoyles. I don't even remember what it was.
It's all that soy we consume, I guess.
Right. All the soy and all the avocado toast.
Yep.
So anyway, second episode to watch for today's show, Promise. Finding each other in the hidden First One Citadel on their personal quest, Adora and Catra endure the building security system even after its holographic system makes them relive their shared past. So this was kind of a really cool episode, and it went a different direction than I thought it was going to go.
Yeah, me too.
And
Man.
And I'll tell you once we get to that point what I mean, and maybe you'll agree. But essentially, so Catra has been kind of stalking Adora and trying to find out things about these. When I say the First One Citadel, like the First Ones is a term they use for the technology, like the sword that She-Ra has or that Adora has, you know, the sword of protection, that is First One's technology.
Okay.
And so it's just technology of those that came before. So they have these temples kind of dispersed about. There's this kind of goddess thing that's in the temples or in the technology of the temples. Her name is Light Hope. And that's who's sort of the guide for She-Ra on how to wield her new power and how to use these various powers. She is there trying to find out how to heal with it because she's told this sword is able to heal. And Glimmer has been cursed in a previous episode where she was captured, I think cursed by the Shadow Weaver. So she's trying to find out how she can lift that curse, how she can heal Glimmer. And Catra's just kind of spying on her, just trying to find out all the secrets she can.
And one thing we should bring up, so like Catra stayed with the Horde. She did not deviate and join Adora, which sucks for Adora because that's her best buddy. And, you know, possibly more than that from some of the things that we gather, especially from this episode. So they're kind of on opposing sides. However, it is, and I haven't watched all the episodes in this season, but in this episode, you know, we realize that Catra had captured Adora and some of her friends, which is how Glimmer got cursed, but Catra actually let her go. And we're kind of unclear on why at the moment, and Adora is very confused also.
Yeah, that's sort of the duality we're seeing in Catra, where it had me questioning, like, is she good? Like, is she going to, you know, come to Adora's side? Because as I said, the show is much different from the original, so I didn't know what was going to happen. Like, I wasn't sure what ultimately was going to be the resolution.
I didn't either, and I was thinking one thing was going to happen, and then the opposite happened, and that really threw me for a loop.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean, we already said spoilers, so
big spoilers.
Yeah, so again, this is going to be the biggest spoiler thing. So if you haven't watched it and you want to, like, maybe don't listen to this part.
Yeah,
go watch it and then come back. To skip ahead to it, so there's some flashbacks that go through, like, as the security system is essentially causing them to holographically relive some of their past experiences with one another. And so we're getting a lot of backstory in that too, and how close they were and how close presumably they still are, even though they're on opposite sides right now. It gets to a point where Catra has to make a choice. And I, for one, thought that choice was going to be a different one than she made.
Yeah. And it was sad too. Like, I think the sad part of this thing is you see how close they really are. Like, they have been together since they were children. They have always been at each other's side. Catra was always treated terribly by Shadow Weaver. And in fact, Shadow Weaver, we see, even threatened her life at one point and basically said, the only reason that you're around, the only reason I don't kill you is because Adora loves you. She kind of threatens Catra by saying, like, if you, because they had gotten into some trouble, and she's kind of like, you know, if you're a bad influence, like, we will end you. You're expendable. You mean nothing to us. And Catra is, on top of that, also really jealous of Adora. One, because of that, and two, because Adora is really better. She's the better fighter. She's always getting praise. I mean, and well-earned praise, you know, not just praise for praise. It really is kind of heartbreaking as some of this stuff is being revealed. Because, I mean, you know, Catra's just an abused child, basically. And in many ways is still the same way as an adult.
Yeah.
Because of her personality and the things that she says and does.
As much as it broke my heart seeing what her decision ended up being,
you kind of get it. Yeah.
I got it. Yeah. Like, because she has been under Adora's shadow, or in Adora's shadow, for basically their whole lives, at least their whole lives with the Horde. Now that Adora is gone, she's being treated like she always thought that she should have been treated. And this is her chance to shine. Seeing it that way, it's like giving you a better perspective on why she doesn't want to just come over to the, you know, to the rebellion, because then again, she will be under Adora's shadow and it will be a repeat of the same situation. She's not even so concerned about, like, the winning, losing side or anything. She's very much concerned about herself and being able to be accepted as this talented person that she is.
Yeah.
And so this is her chance to be an independent leader who can show people what she's capable of. And in that way, I totally got it, as much as it was hard for me to accept it when it first happened.
Yeah, and just to set the stage, so they get into this like underground place where Adora is, like we said, trying to figure out how to use the sword to heal. It's basically like being inside a computer. Like, there's an AI system she's talking to and stuff. Catra snuck in there. Catra sees this piece of technology that the Horde has been looking for, they could use for their own benefits. And when she snatches that, because Adora doesn't know that Catra's down there, the security protocols are enabled and all these big robo spiders come out. You know, the same thing that you guys would usually have in your computers if it senses a virus, is the big robot spiders come out and start to fight for you. Which is, dude, has been super handy for me several times. And so they're fighting it back and forth. They're seeing all these flashbacks also of themselves growing up together. And then they're separated. Adora gets manhandled by these spider things. She gets thrown over the edge of this cliff. And we see like another really touching moment with Catra, like in a flashback. And we can kind of see this determination on her face. And she heads back and finds Adora dangling over this side. Without her sword, the spiders are about to take her down when Catra destroys the spiders and picks up the sword like she's going to give it to her. And instead, this is the moment where like Catra really is good. This is the moment. Instead, she throws the sword over the edge of this cliff and basically says goodbye to Adora, and not in like a nice way, like a respect way. It was basically like all but spitting in her face and cut the spiderweb stuff that was barely hanging onto her hand and basically sent Adora falling down into the pit. And we're just like, oh my God, she absolutely betrayed her.
She left her for what she thought was dead.
Yeah, she tried to kill her.
The best part about that, the reason it was such a hard punch to the gut is because like right before that, it had this flashback where it was talking about the promise. I mean, the episode title is The Promise, and the promise that they're talking about is where young Catra and young Adora are talking, and they agree that like you look out for me and I'll look out for you, and nothing really bad can happen as long as we look out for each other. Yeah. And that was the promise that they made to each other. And it's like, okay, so they're going to look out for each other. Everything's going to be good. Like, we're going to be happy. And this is going to be a moment of redemption for Catra.
Nope.
It went the way opposite direction, and I was really surprised by that.
I was surprised and sad because Catra is kind of my favorite character. Just because of that duality, like that, she's the anti-hero up until that point that she becomes the villain, and I always appreciate that. Plus, she's a cute cat girl. And I mean, especially like when we see young Catra and her tiny little hiss, oh my goodness. I just wanted to scoop her up and squeeze her and give her big hugs because she's absolutely adorable and I love her.
I guess a strong thing about this is like even the bad characters are very likable.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it makes it where you're kind of torn between some of these decisions. It's not black and white. There's a lot of gray in there.
Oh, yeah. A whole lot of gray. There's so much gray. Everything's gray.
It's all gray. Then
again, we are both colorblind. So that could be why.
So the last episode we watched for today's show was Battle for Brightmoon, season 1, episode 13. This is the one I chose because I wanted to see how it closed out. And I figured this one would be a cool kind of resolution of everything that had been building up throughout the season. And I was right. This is another one that kind of surprised me the way that it ended. And I don't know if it was for the better or not, but I get why it ended this way. In this one, empowered by a master plan to defeat the rebellion and conquer all of Etheria in darkness, Catra lays siege to Brightmoon with only She-Ra and the Fractured Alliance in her way.
Yeah, that's the thing. So there's a lot of characters in this episode that I didn't know much about, but I just wanted to say that the show does a very good job of quickly summing things up so that even if you don't know what happened in the previous episode, you can kind of catch on pretty quickly and kind of figure out what's going on, because there's like several other princesses that get that show up here before and during this battle that takes place. And none of these are ones I had seen yet, but I mean, within seconds, I get it. I'm like, okay, so this is someone they didn't think was going to show up and they did, or this is someone that they didn't hear from and don't know if word got out, but it did, and things like that. So so kudos to the show for giving it the old Stan Lee, rest in peace, where they kind of, even though you might understand it right off the bat because you've seen the other episodes, they still give you a little bit of that buffer, even if it's just a few seconds of it, to understand where these people are coming from and what's happening.
Yeah, and you get why. And they even mention a couple times the Fractured Alliance and how they don't think, even though they've sent off a distress signal, they don't think anyone's coming to help them because of how the alliance has been fractured. And so it's essentially Brightmoon against the entire horde. And Brightmoon is just a small segment. I mean, it's kind of the central point, but it's a segment of all of the other small kingdoms around.
Yeah.
Hence the princesses of power. It's more than just She-Ra who have these abilities. I mean, she's the primary one and she's got this sort of protection. But these other princesses that we do end up meeting, and I didn't catch all their names, but I'm sure were introduced in earlier episodes that we didn't see.
Yeah, I can sum them up for you real quick. So the princesses are Plant Princess, Ice Princess, and Water Princess.
Yeah,
as far as
that's what I wrote too. Yeah.
That's all I can tell. but that's all we need.
Something else that we haven't mentioned the character yet, I guess, because he didn't really come in much aside from just being on the side, is Swiftwind, the Rainbow Pegasus, basically.
Oh, yeah. Okay, dude. So that's the talking unicorn. And I was like, what? This unicorn talks? That's awesome.
Yeah, he talks in the original one too. And I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
I had forgotten that because he doesn't talk at first in the original one. And then they gave him a voice.
Oh,
so
okay.
it's carrying over from that. In this one, he doesn't talk at first either, because when he's in this, I think this happened in the second episode where it's originally just a horse. And then the Sword of Protection transforms this horse into Swiftwind.
The dude is funny too. Just FYI, this horse is funny. He's got jokes, man.
Yeah, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, we get to see everyone preparing for this battle, this upcoming battle. And Catra, we see, is a really smart general because she's found a way, or at least one of the prisoners she has found a way to weaken the princesses with these black garnet crystals that they have that kind of like saps the princess's power. And so she's like, all right, how do we do that right now so I can immediately go and attack?
Right.
And that's what she does. Like, she finds a way to do it. And this episode starts off with that all happening, leading into this upcoming battle.
And so there is, and I'm sure you have more info about this because you've watched more of the show than these three, but I feel like, so protecting the castle is this thing called the Moonstone, I believe. And I think that the main goal of the Horde is kind of like step one, destroy that crystal or that stone. Step two, destroy everybody else. But it's like they have to do that first, I think, is kind of what they're getting at. And correct me if I'm wrong there, but I think that's what was going on.
Yeah, because I think that's what gives like power to that kingdom.
Sure. Okay.
And we kind of see like other crystals having their power kind of sapped out of them throughout the first couple episodes.
Right.
And so if this kind of central hub crystal is destroyed, then that way cuts the power out from under this rebellion.
Okay, got it. So basically, Catra leads like a siege against Brightmoon, and it's smart because they send out a couple of these tank things, and I'm just like, that's it? There's like 8 tanks. Okay, well, I guess low animation budget kind of thing. But the brilliance of that was, so She-Ra's like, I got this. She gets out there, she's fighting a few of them. She gets up on one, opens it up. No one's in there, but there's an explosive that blows up. So it was kind of like a distraction. And while she was there, like all of these dudes just swoop in through the air and just start ransacking the castle and shooting up everything. And I was like, okay, here's the real battle. This is cool. And yeah, man. And another thing I liked is there was no true, for a long time, there was no true good guys are definitely winning or the bad guys are definitely winning. It was very stalemate a lot. Like when one side got an advantage in one spot, someone else would fall. Like at one point, the good guys are doing okay, but then She-Ra goes after Catra, and Catra is tearing her up, literally, with her claws, tearing She-Ra up. And then the forces of Brightmoon or whatever start to fall there. So there's a lot of back and forth. It's like a real battle. It's not one-sided, and I liked that.
Yeah, and even when She-Ra thought she had turned it around and had Catra dead to rights, I mean, she wasn't going to kill her, but she had Catra, like, she had beaten her. Catra's like, are you sure?
Yeah.
And then, like, she turns around, and all those tanks that she had to ignore to focus on Catra are attacking the Brightmoon crystal. And that's when I thought, like, oh, man, like, this is going to be one of those things where the cliffhanger at the end of this season is going to be the bad guys, the Horde, winning this battle.
Yeah.
That's what I thought was going to happen. The queen is the only one there protecting the crystal. She's the only one who has the power to. So she's focusing all her power on that. And these like spider drones are going up there, like blasting her, trying to, stop her from protecting it.
Right.
And eventually, one of them is able to take her out, or at least knock her out. The crystal's unprotected and it's starting to take some blasts. And that's when I thought for sure that the Horde had it did have the upper hand, but I thought for sure that the Horde was going to win the day.
Yeah, Glimmer's mom, Angela, got up there and she's trying to protect it. But like even there was a point where I'm like, she's going to die.
Yeah.
She was just getting lit up from every which direction. Like she made it, but I was not expecting her to. In fact, the only reason that the good guys won this is because some of the other princesses showed up kind of last minute and were able to add their power to the Brightmoon forces. If that hadn't happened, they absolutely would have lost that battle.
Yeah, and I did, as much as I would have wanted it to end on like kind of a sour note so that it would be like, oh, like what's going to happen? How's it going to come back? Like they end up ending it on a positive note where it's kind of a reuniting of these princesses. And this is where the true power lies. And I get that. And that's why, it's princesses of power. So it's a team effort. It's friends helping each other,
right?
And, teaming up against these greater forces. And I liked they kind of combined their powers into some like rainbow wave.
They made a big old rainbow.
And this is what pushes the horde away and really causes everyone to celebrate. Like no one gets like killed or anything, even though I too thought that Angela, the queen, was going to be killed the way that it was going. And, like go out on her last breath and like saying something positive to Glimmer or whatnot. And that didn't happen, but that's what I thought was going to happen.
I am going to give him this, though. I don't like the last minute saving thing. Just because, it's been done so many times before, and this show was kind of a lot of firsts, it felt like. That part left a little to be desired, but, I'm not going to knock it for that. I was kind of like, oh, well, all right.
I think that I wish it would have taken more of a cue from Voltron, where it's like sometimes seasons do end on a bad note.
Yeah,
like things do not look good.
Yeah.
Like let them lose so that we can really appreciate victory when it's given to us.
Yeah.
And I agree with you there. And that was one of the things that I didn't really care for, where I'm like, man, I wish it had ended the other way. Like I get that they wanted it. They didn't know for sure they're going to have like a season 2 or whatever. So they didn't want to just like end it on a bad note forever or whatever the case, but I wish they had been a little bit bolder in that sense and gone with that, quote unquote bad ending to leave it more open for what might happen in season 2.
I agree. I think that would have been a little bit better, but it's kind of like, whatever. Like I'm still interested, obviously.
Yeah, totally. We do get to see like the good guys are celebrating. Everyone's happy on the rebellion side, but then we get a little bit of a stinger at the end where it's like Catra is walking up to Hordak's throne and he essentially promotes her to his second in command because she's saying like, even though we didn't win this battle, like I got closer to conquering Brightmoon than anyone ever has. And the Whispering Woods is still in ruins because the Whispering Woods is frozen over. And that's the barrier, again, between the Horde and the Rebellion and Brightmoon. So essentially Eternia is ours for the taking. Or sorry, Etheria is ours for the taking. So we just have to get over there again. Like we just have to keep striking.
Yeah.
This was essentially round 1. And so that's where it's like, okay, like I see how they're giving something there to go off of. They're not just ending it on good guys win, all as well. Like there's still this potential for danger.
Yeah, it was very much of this was only part of the battle. Like we're not done. Kind of feel.
Right.
So I liked that part. That was good. That kind of helped make up for it a little bit.
Yeah, because the bad guys, I keep saying bad guys, like the Horde, like they haven't been dissuaded. Like they haven't lost hope that I don't even know if it's hope you would call it. They're not discouraged from continuing this attack.
Right. Yeah, it's just a setback, like a minor setback to them. Like they've got this.
Exactly. Well, because it looks like it's about time we send our inner kids to Etheria to join the rebellion in the battle against the Horde and work their way up to princess status. Then tell us what they thought of She-Ra and the Princesses of Power.
I thought this was a girls' cartoon, but it was actually pretty cool. Plus it has plenty of pretty girls and sparkly girls and kitty cat girls, and some of them glow, and they have powers, and they purr, so I gave this cartoon 5 bowls of talking unicorn cereal out of 5.
I'll start by saying that I'm not completely familiar with the original She-Ra series, having only caught a few episodes here and there, so my review will not be a direct comparison. Now that that's out of the way, I can honestly say that I really enjoyed the first season of this series. The characters are also unique and likable, even the bad guys, which is so important when creating compelling villains. Even though I ultimately knew which side Catra had to end up on, this show kept me wondering and really explored the duality of her character as well as her inner conflict. In addition to all that, I really appreciated the general feeling of inclusivity and the focus on it being princesses of power and not just an army of one. Overall, I'd give She-Ra and the Princesses of Power 5 big bowls of Spoon of Protection cereal out of 5, and I am really excited to see how the series pans out. And I think if I were in Adora's shoes battling against my former friend, now enemy Catra, I'd just sheathe the sword and pull out my ultimate weapon, the spray bottle, and give her a little spritz or two. At least that's how I punish my cats when they're bad.
You know, that's the best way to take care of naughty cats or bitter enemies. You just spray them with a bottle of water.
Yeah, whether they're cat people or not, just spray them with water. Like, they'll either be deterred or at least so confused that you have the advantage at that point.
Yeah, exactly. It'll at least buy you time while they're just like, what? Why? Why are you doing this?
Yeah. You know what? I'm just going to go out and go on the record and say that I encourage spray bottle usage for any argument you get in the near future.
I agree, because I know it works because my girlfriend has used it on me before. And like, I'm not even joking about this, sadly. Like, it has happened. So, and
awesome.
It is a deterrent. It definitely worked on me. So there you go.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
So do you have any final thoughts on She-Ra and the Princesses of Power?
I like what they did with this first season, and I get that it was the first season, so it had its little hiccups here and there. Obviously not enough to deter us from giving it a 5 because we saw the potential there. And even though the first season didn't end the way that I was hoping it would, on a more like dire note where stakes were a little bit higher, there were points throughout the series where that did happen, and especially that promised episode that we had talked about. So if they keep it up in that way and they keep giving us impactful episodes like that, then I think this is a definite winner and you should definitely check it out.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. Like, it wasn't perfect, but it was still an amazing show. Like I said before, some of the stuff that really sealed the deal for me was the art, which is just absolutely amazing and full of gorgeous colors. And the writing, where you can really feel the heart, especially the heartbreak between Catra and Adora in that episode, The Promise, that we talked about. Like, it really hits you. It just makes me want to watch more of it. So I'm definitely going to be going back and watching the full season. And I'm super excited to see another season as well. And while we were talking about some of it, I kind of thought of this idea of when you're saying you wish you had seen Adora alongside the Horde in some capacity and you know, more of what she did before she turned to the other side. I think it'd be interesting to be able to see an episode of like what had happened if Adora had not gotten the sword. Like, what would she become, you know, if she really was like the champion of the Horde there. So there's so much this show could do, and it really set up, like any other season to come after this, it set it up really well. It's going to be a real healthy show. I'm very excited to see more of it.
Yeah, like to your point, that'd be really cool to see like a dark She-Ra episode, or like in the same way that He-Man has that Faker character.
Yeah.
Like that would be awesome to see like a fake She-Ra. Maybe they did happen in the original series. I'm not positive. I don't know one way or another, but I think that would be a really cool way to give us that alternate like what if situation.
Yeah, and I mean, it would just go to show too, you know, especially if it's getting to a point where, you know, they are introducing a lot of characters, like a lot of other princesses, and it's kind of, you know, okay, well, if we have this much power, then what's the point of She-Ra, you know, demonstrating that she really is essential to the whole thing. You know, that would be a good way to do it if you see like what the alternative would be. And I think that would be really awesome.
I think something that we should also point out is there's some really good humor in this too. We didn't touch on that much, but it's got some really funny moments to break up the tension. We might have made it sound like it's really like tense all the time, but it's really not. There's some good humor in there. It's very lighthearted in a lot of episodes or in a lot of scenes.
Yeah.
And I think it's something that parents can enjoy with their kids for sure. It's not so ultra violent that it's like should be cut off from kids in general. And it's not so childish that that adults should be deterred. Like, I think it's something that the family can enjoy together.
You know, it's very like, and I hate comparing shows together so much, but I mean, there are shows that are really up there as far as their quality and that people have seen too with viewership. The writing style does remind me quite a bit of Avatar: The Last Airbender, though maybe not as goofy as The Last Airbender, but it's got like that same amount of heart, some light comedy that does go alongside some dark and dramatic moments. So I think that's if you're wondering what else is out there like that, this is one of them, and maybe a mix of like Steven Universe in there too, not just in how the animation and how everything looks, but in some of the ways some of the different characters, personalities, or likenesses are. So yeah, if you're a fan of those things, you're going to like this for sure.
Yeah, and if you're questioning whether you should watch it or not, if you're a huge fan of the original series and you're like, nah, I don't want it to ruin it in my eyes, like, don't even think about it that way. Just treat it as something completely different, because that's really what it is. It's the same in name and really in kind of general concept, but a much different take on at least a lot of what the original had to offer.
Yeah, you have to throw out you don't have to throw out preconceptions of the original, but like it's a different show. It's not the serious and cheesy show that the original was. And sorry if anyone doesn't like hearing that, but I mean, it's cheesy. The original is cheesy, just like He-Man is cheesy, just like any of those shows are kind of cheesy. It's you have to just kind of let go of that and be like, okay, so here's a different version, an alternate universe of the characters I loved from this other thing. And then just take it like that and see if you like it.
Yeah, and I think you'll be happier with it that way anyway.
We all will be. So you can stop complaining online, get off of 4chan, nobody cares.
Stop rating it so low on IMDb. That's not fair. That's not fair at all to this show.
Yeah, just go home. You're grounded. All right.
Well, listeners, looks like a milk supply is not run dry, so it's time for us to say goodbye. Next week, we'll be watching
Animals, suggested by Dan via iTunes. This is Animals with a period after it, so I just wanted to throw that out there. Animals, period.
Oh, so not even, you shouted it, so it'd just be like, Animals.
Oh, yeah, I guess I should, maybe I should be like, Animals, suggested by Dan.
And then you can shout the rest.
Yeah. Suggested by Dan via iTunes. This is an HBO show, I believe. It's either
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. I haven't seen it, but I know the style of it.
Yeah, I know nothing about this show other than how it looks, so I am interested to find out. And this was at the bottom of the list. We started at the top, and now we're there at the bottom. I don't know.
I guess the real challenge is like, how much are we going to reuse that same joke?
I know.
Every time we go back to the bottom.
Here's the thing. Every time we're going to do it. So I'm excited for it. Are you excited?
I am. I'm excited. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
Well, once again, I'm Joseph.
And I am Chris.
And we'll see you next Saturday.
Presented by Nerdsloth,
a place for lazy nerds.
If you like what you heard, consider donating at patreon.com/nerdsloth so we can continue bringing you quality shows. Be sure to also leave us a review and share your favorite episodes and clips on social media. If you're looking for more content, visit us at nerdsloth.com.